Just check out these moves in Palantir and Nvidia. I mean, I got no other word for it except for just epic. I mean, you just don't see moves like this every day, and it just isn't stopping. They just continue to run up and continue to run up. But all good things must come to an end, and when you have an epic run up like this, it clearly is time to sell. I mean, you got smart money selling, you got YouTubers selling out of these stocks, so clearly it's time for you to do the same. Or maybe there's something else you can do altogether, I don't know. So basically, I'm gonna give you my exact plan for what I'm doing, and we'll discuss this topic in depth to make sure you have all the information because the decisions you make are critical to your investing. I just ask that you gently tap that like button and consider subscribing too. It's super easy to do if you like the truth without the hype. Now, the group was just gobbling up shares in the $6 and $7 range in Palantir, and when Nvidia went under $200, the folks in our group who were really into that were just gobbling up shares like there was no tomorrow. That included AMD and a bunch of other stocks at that time. And you would have seen all those buys in real time if you were a part of the group, so make sure you take advantage of the Memorial Day sale that's going on right now for the Market Insiders private group, where you get access to all those buy and sell alerts in real time. You get my watch list with price target. You get 5 free courses you can take, the best Discord out. You get access to me anytime on the Q&As. You can slide into my DMs if you want. And we have a stock analyzer tool coming to the group that's going to be completely free for members to use. So check out the pinned comment and see if a membership's right for you. All right, so let's kind of speak in general first about this topic, and then we'll kind of dive into Palantir and Nvidia specifically, because I agree, it's a little bit different what's going on there than kind of what's going on in general. But we got to kind of lay the foundation there so that way we're all kind of reading from the same sheet of music. So we'll basically use this foundation, then we'll springboard that into Palantir and Nvidia because it is a little bit different. But again, if we don't have the foundation, we're never going to get over here to this side, and it's not going to make any sense. So you guys know me, I'm a long-term buy and hold investor. That's exactly what I do. So whenever I'm looking at a scenario like this in general, I basically, the first thing I do, the very first thing I do is I sit down and I look at what was my plan for the stock. What exactly was I thinking? What exactly was I doing? What exactly was my plan? You know, was my plan to hold for 6 months? Was it to hold for 6 years? Was it just a great company that I want to hold for a very long time until they screwed up or something else? I have to sit down and assess that first. What was my plan with that stock? You have to keep in mind, over the long run, over a long journey, stocks get overvalued and undervalued all the time over the course of that journey. There's lots of times over pick your stock, over a 10-year mark, we'll say, there's lots of times, really, we can just look at the past 3 years if we really wanted to. There's lots of times where these stocks were way overvalued. I mean, we take Palantir here for an example. At 40, it was way overvalued. There was no doubt about it. I understand, I think long-term you're going to be fine, but it's way overvalued. And then whenever it dropped all the way down to 6, it was significantly undervalued in my opinion. So, looking at that, those are kind of two extremes that happened over the course of just a few years here, where you saw one extreme and then the other, the opposite direction. And that's kind of the norm over a stock's journey. So you've got to kind of understand that's exactly what happens. And for me and my plan personally, that's why I think valuation is so critical. Because once I have that valuation and I understand what fair value is for that stock, it becomes much easier to tell, are we overvalued and in a hype cycle, or are we undervalued and there's, or on the flip side of that, I guess I should say, if I could talk, are we undervalued and in a situation where, oh my gosh, this is a screaming deal? Or is the narrative actually right and there's a screaming problem that's, slapping me in the face? And no, it's not Alex banging a table. That's not a long-term problem. That's not an issue with the stock, in my opinion. Of course, other folks thought very differently. Hey, no judgment here. Everybody has their own reasons. But for me, that's the reality with stocks, is they're overvalued and then they get significantly undervalued, and it kind of goes back and forth and kind of fair values in between. So that's what I care about. When it's undervalued and I want to own the stock and I want to own more of that stock, my plan is to buy that stock, set price targets, and start DCAing into that stock. And then when it gets overvalued, I simply stop. That's my plan with stocks in general, that I go in, and that's kind of the mindset I did. Now, if I'm doing a swing trade or something else, that's completely separate, and I keep that completely separate. And I plan out that swing trade. I plan out my entry point and my exit point ahead of time. So I have all that right there. So there is no debate. There is no question. There is no, I hate to say, I'm trying to eliminate emotions, what I'm trying to do out of that entire scenario. So when I lay that out, hey, I'm buying it here. Hey, hit my price target. Bang. It may go lower. Who freaking knows? But it's a swing trade. I'm willing to sell it. If I'm buying it at 5 and I want to swing trade it to 8, then when it hits 8, I'm going to sell it at 8. That's my plan swing trade. That's what I think is going to happen in that particular scenario for that swing trade. And that's my plan. Now, it may go to 9, it may go to 10. Doesn't matter to me. That's my plan. It's laid out. It's, written in stone. So that way, when it happens, I can basically know, hey, we get up over 8. I need to look at taking my profits and getting out of that trade. Now, for a long-term buy and hold, for me, it's completely different. If something doesn't fundamentally change, I'm not looking to get out of that stock. Why would I? That to me, then I'm basically trading. So I'm not long-term buy and hold investing. I'm basically trading. And I don't want to play that game with a long-term buy and hold stock, a company I want to hold long-term. Think your Teslas, think your Apples, your Googles, your Amazons, in this case, Palantir, NVIDIA clearly making massive moves towards a huge future. All these sort of companies, to me, I don't have any desire to trade. I want to own them for a very long time, hopefully for my lifetime, and nothing fundamentally changes. And these companies continue to get better and continue to execute. And to think a company can't do that over the course of decades, you would just simply be wrong. There's lots and lots and lots of companies in the stock market, from boring stuff like Coke to, stocks like Apple, to a lot of other stocks in between, that are able to carry that forward for decades. Now, maybe it does eventually run out. That's a fundamental change. What happened with me with GE? I thought it was going to be a great company into the future like it had been in the past, and I was just clearly wrong in that scenario. But in general, there are opportunities for this to happen, and that's basically my plan with those types of stocks. And trust me, guys, I've been there before. I've sold a stock or half of a position of a stock to make a great profit of $600. And if I would just held the dumb thing, it would have made a seven-figure position for me, like the other half of the stock that I held actually did. So, that's kind of the danger of taking profits, regardless of whether you're taking a lot or a little, or it's 100% or it's a 200%. If it's a great long-term stock, it will consistently outperform. There's no way I could have traded in and out of that stock or in and out of other stocks and created that same game where I did exactly nothing except for just hold that other set of shares. That's it. I was adding over time to those shares as the stock price got undervalued. But in general, all I had to do was just hold. That was it. Nothing else, nothing fancy, not getting in and out, not getting in and then getting back out and then paying my 40% tax bill and then getting back in again and rinse and repeat. There's no way I could have replicated that performance. So I've done that repeatedly with long-term buy and holds. So for me, that is my feeling with long-term buy and holds in that particular scenario. In the end, trading is impossibly hard compared to just holding. And there's been a couple of recent examples right here in our YouTube community of that exact thing playing out. I mean, you had YouTubers basically selling Palantir right around 10 bucks or so. I don't remember the exact price, but hey, they took a nice 45% gain, whatever the heck it was. That's a great trade. That's a great gain in the stock. However, you missed out on basically a double up from the bottom if you just would have held, because now we're up over 13 and I don't know when it's going to stop running. Does it get to 14? Does it get to 15? Does it drop back down to 10? Does it drop all the way back down to 8 like some folks were predicting? I don't know, but all I know is that right there, to me, that's what you missed out on. And now you're playing a different game. Now you're wondering, do I get into it now because maybe it is going to 15 or 20? I don't know. But I know I don't have to play that game because I didn't do that in the first place with Palantir. And you saw the same exact thing with NVIDIA. A lot of YouTubers and a lot of other folks too were selling ahead of earnings. Man, it's just been on an epic run. This is just crazy. This is, hey, earnings may be good, but there's just not, it's so, overbought and everything's crazy about it. And so they sold ahead of earnings, thinking they were going to pick up the dip after earnings. And then NVIDIA goes out there and basically redefines the entire business. Just shows something that honestly, gosh, you see that on an earnings call not very often. That sort of guidance, that one great beat. Okay, yeah, that thesis kind of played out. But oh my gosh, that guidance forward was incredible. And the news and the buzz behind it. I mean, everything about that setup could not have gone any different for those folks than it did. Every multiple had to be reset. Every piece of information had to be reset based upon what the guidance was given on that earnings call. That's why I don't personally ever trade earnings calls, not just because of reasons like that, where the company can just surprise you out of nowhere and blow you out of the water, especially great companies that you want to hold long-term do these sort of things from time to time. It happens, guys. But you also just, all the algo craziness and all the manipulation and everything else that goes on around earnings. It's just a game I don't want to play. So not only were you trying to trade and get too cute with your trade on a long-term hold, now it just, everything went against you all the way around, where if you just would have held, it was the easier play. It was the easier thing to do. But I do have a little bit of a different plan with Palantir than what I just described there. So let's discuss that. And we'll also discuss NVIDIA too. So let's start with Palantir right here. And remember, guys, it is up almost 100%, maybe close to 100% from the bottom. I didn't actually look at the lows there. As a matter of fact, it probably would be up 100% from the lows there. But for me, it's still a little bit undervalued because I don't care about the move in stock price. That is completely different than the actual valuation of the stock. Those are two different things. It can be significantly overvalued, right? And it can be significantly undervalued. And let's just say it went all the way down to $1. Let's just say, I don't know, it got crazy. Wall Street got stupid, forgot about stock. I don't know, whatever. Something crazy happened. Went all the way down to $1. Well, I mean, you would be sitting on what, 13,000% return, 1,300% return, whatever the heck the math would be on that sort of a return. It's still undervalued from a valuation perspective, in my opinion. So when I'm looking at that, the percent return doesn't matter. The amount up or down doesn't matter. It's a question of, is it undervalued or not? Now it's quickly approaching, to me, fair value for that stock. And I can make a case for a little bit of a higher valuation on the stock. I really could. But just, trying to be conservative here, it's definitely approaching that, fair value mark. Now, having said that, I'm not buying any more at these prices for a very specific reason. And that is because I have a full position already built out. I'm into bonus shares now. So for me, I want not just fair value, I want a nice discount underneath fair value there before I buy more. So, to me, if Wall Street wants to get dumb and get it up underneath 10, I'll probably start buying more of it again. I would absolutely, have to be buying. But for me right now, there's other opportunities that are crazy undervalued that I need to be putting my money towards because I already have a full position here and I'm already into bonus shares. Now, if you don't have a full position in Palantir, or, you're one of the folks who wants to start a position in Palantir, I completely understand there, but that's a really long discussion here. So what I'll do is I'll do another video here shortly. I may just jump right into that one right after this one here. So that way this isn't like a 40-minute video or something crazy like that. Well, we'll jump into a video there and give you the information on what to do if you're in that scenario here just shortly there. But for right now, that's my situation with Palantir. Now on to NVIDIA, and let me be clear and upfront with you guys. I have not done any due diligence on NVIDIA at all. And that's simply because I don't understand the sector. For me, the chip sector is just one that I've never understood the business. Obviously, I can see the business case and everything else for it, but it's just one. I stick with my core competencies, businesses that I can understand and that I get, and that I'm able to look at the business and how they make money and not necessarily project the future, but have a good idea as to, when this happens, this is what happens in regards to, revenue, EPS, and everything else. And I can make a very clear case there. I try to keep my investing simple. There are thousands of great stocks out there that are going to make a lot of money. So I don't need to pick 1,000 right. I don't need to be involved in every single sector. I'm going to stick with the sectors that I understand, because the moment, and I've done it before, I've made the mistake recently, I get outside of a sector that I understand, like medical, like a lot of other things like that. When I step outside of those things, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not confident. And therefore my decision making is a lot less, I almost said a lot less good. I know that's not proper English, but my decision making is just very poor, I feel, in regards to what my normal decision making is, where I can make very confident decisions. And it's very easy to buy undervalued. It's very easy to not be scared by the media narrative or by YouTube or by, the macro of this or whatever the heck the noise is out there. It is very easy to understand the business, see what the business is doing, see what the, Wall Street's doing with the stock price, and to be able to immediately identify huge opportunities. I can't do that in industries like that. I can't do it with chips. So, honestly, I haven't looked into it because it's not an industry that I understand, so I stay away from it. But let me just kind of reel this all in here and still give you guys a take on NVIDIA, because the idea, the concept works regardless of what sector your stock is in. So I'm not trying to disqualify myself there from being able to give you this concept. I'm just telling you, in regards to NVIDIA itself, I'm not speaking from an expert opinion on NVIDIA from having done lots of due diligence and everything else like that. I'm just trying to be upfront and honest with you guys. Now, we do have several experts in our group in that field that were basically, I let them take the lead in regards to when we're discussing NVIDIA or AMD or anything else in that sector. These guys take over, they take the lead. They're the guys posting the charts and doing everything behind all that, getting into the due diligence with the members. Due diligence, if I could talk. They're the ones doing all that sort of work, and they were screaming when NVIDIA got under $200. This is crazy. This is a crazy deal. Obviously, when it was down at 120, it was just, I think a lot of these guys were shoveling a lot of their money in. Obviously, I was focused in a different area, right? They're over there. I'm over here saying, hey, guys, Meta, I'm telling you right now, this is a crazy opportunity too over here. Not saying NVIDIA is a bad opportunity, just there are multiple opportunities for us to jump in on. There's multiple just things just screaming at you. Easy money, easy money, easy money. And that's kind of the beauty of investing that I love, is I'm focused on Meta. They're focused on, NVIDIA, AMD, stocks like that. And everybody, in regards to understanding valuation and understanding the opportunity in front of you, has made a lot of money on it so far. And of course, we had members that did both. So of course, they made a lot of money. A lot of you guys out there have bought both stocks, and you've made a lot of money in these too. That's the beauty of investing, is we can all make money different ways. But from the discussion in there, from their discussion, from, other things that I've just kind of read and heard, that this is not just a small one. I can tell just by the guidance forward that this is a change in the business, and in a good way, not in a negative way. This is not a fundamental change to the downside. This is a fundamental change to the upside with that sort of huge guidance jump That's just massive. I mean, you don't see that very often, over the course of a decade, much less at a time like right now. It's just an incredible thing. So there is a fundamental change there with the business to where I don't know where the top of that deal is. It's very rare you see these type things to where it resets the valuation. It resets, it's kind of crazy. You're thinking a stock is overvalued whenever it comes in based upon valuation. And then the numbers are so gaudy and the guidance is so gaudy that it actually afterwards, after a big run after earnings, it's actually cheaper by a valuation metric. It's just rare that that sort of thing happens, that now all of a sudden it is trading cheaper from a valuation perspective than it was prior to earnings, despite the fact it's run up, 20, 30%, whatever the heck the run up's been, that it's now cheaper in terms of valuation. Those are amazing things that don't happen very often. So that to me right there, I'm kind of treating it kind of generically here. They're executing on a mega high level. They just had a huge fundamental change to the upside in the business there. Doesn't mean the stock can't come down. Doesn't mean Wall Street won't go stupid with a price. But if I'm looking at valuation and it's already undervalued from where it was prior to earnings, with all these future things that are coming, if Wall Street chooses to beat it back down to the price it was prior to earnings, and I'm not saying they will or won't, I have no idea, but if they did, that not only means it was, undervalued after the big run up, now it's like not crazy undervalued like it was prior down at 120, but you're getting a really good deal on that stock. So if you're looking to build out a position from a valuation perspective, I would say it'd probably be pretty close. Now obviously you've got to do your due diligence and see, is that actually true? Is that valuation actually true? Is it actually cheaper than what it was before? What am I looking at there? What are their growth rates? What are my growth rates? You still have to do your due diligence. You can't just avoid it, not do it altogether. But I suspect that would be a good opportunity for you to look at it there and see exactly what is going on there, exactly what's happening, and then make a decision from there. If you own it, should I sell it and take my profits? Or do you continue to ride this horse longer because, hey, maybe from a valuation perspective, it's trading cheaply again. That's part of a company that has a huge change in the business like that. So I'll have a video coming on exactly what to do if you want to buy a stock like Palantir here shortly, guys. Just hang tight with me. But this is exactly how I would handle this scenario in regards to selling these two stocks. And don't forget, if you want to see all my buy and sell alerts in real time, you want to see my watch list with price targets, you want to take 5 courses for free. We got tons of exclusive videos in there, guys. The best Discord of 6 and 7 figure investors out there. We got that stock analyzer tool that's coming. It's going to be free for you if you're a member. Just make sure you don't miss the Memorial Day sale for the group where the prices are on sale. And honestly, once the stock analyzer tool gets up and rolling, I'm going to have to raise the price, guys. So it's definitely coming. So take advantage of it right now. You get to keep your price for life. Not going to raise on you no matter what happens in the future. You get your price for as long as you stay a member. So check out the pinned comment down there and see if it's right for you. And click here if you want to see the 3 stocks that I'm currently buying right now. And click here to see exactly what my plan is for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.